The management is represented by Mr. Shishir Srivastava, Managing Director, and Mr. Pradyumna Kanodia, Director Finance. At this time, I would now like to hand the conference over to Mr. Srivastava. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you are all doing well and staying safe. We take pleasure in welcoming you all to discuss the operating and financial performance of the fourth quarter and full year FY 2020 for the company. The outbreak of COVID-19 happened at a time when all our business segments were witnessing a sustained period of robust growth. We were witnessing strong double-digit consumption growth in the range of 12% to 20% across our retail portfolio until the end of February 2020. However, our malls started operating with restrictions from March 13, 2020, as per the guidelines issued by the respective state governments. Consumption fell between 40 to 60% across the malls in the period of March due to the outbreak of COVID-19 and the subsequent nationwide lockdown. On 8th June 2020, we resumed operations at 3 of our malls: Phoenix Market City, Bangalore, Phoenix United, Lucknow, and Phoenix United, Bareilly. We expect our other malls to open gradually as governments ease lockdown measures. We have adopted the highest standards of safety and hygiene across all our malls. We are conscious of the fact that our retail partners are going through tough times, and based on reasonableness, we have offered them a moratorium of 3 months for the rents payable. We are hopeful that as the lockdown eases in the coming days, visibility of retail businesses will improve. We anticipate that COVID-19 will have a short to medium term impact and remain bullish on the long-term prospects of our business model. And our malls will continue to play a pivotal role as social hubs in city centers as we return to normalcy. Our commercial office segment, which is least impacted, continues to remain an important pillar for our growth aspirations. We have seen good traction in gross rental collections in the recent months and continue to see interest from clients for leasing new spaces. We promptly took various measures to safeguard our properties and increased security and housekeeping services to maintain the highest hygiene and safety standards. We have 2 towers at Fountainhead, Pune, which are nearing completion, and traction for leasing appears strong there as well. With regards to our hospitality segment, the St. Regis Mumbai had an occupancy of 85% in January and February 2020, before air travel restrictions in early March and the subsequent lockdown impacted operations. We continue to operate the hotel at a limited capacity as permitted by the state government guidelines. Courtyard by Marriott in Agra is expected to remain shut temporarily until July, as we do not anticipate any tourist demands in the near term. Demand for new bookings is expected to improve in the second half of FY 21 with gradual relaxation of lockdown norms. With regards to our projects under development, in the retail segment, work across our various market cities in Pune, Bangalore, Indore, and Palladium, Ahmedabad has restarted. Phoenix Palacio, Lucknow, the latest addition to our portfolio, is expected to become operational in early July. The opening of this mall was earlier stated for mid-March. Despite the current challenges, we are on course to double our retail portfolio and significantly increase our commercial office portfolio by FY 24. This is based on projects that are already under development. As we all understand, humans by nature are social beings. And while COVID-19 has presented us an unprecedented challenge, all of us together will overcome it in some time. Our business model will continue to be relevant in the times to come. As cities expand, they give rise to multiple hubs, within which they become the go-to places for the city. We are in the business of building such town-centric locations across key cities of India, where people can come and experience shopping, dining, entertainment, and socialize in a safe and regulated environment. We believe that our business model will become more relevant as people will now prefer to go to places that are considered to be safe. With this, I would like to hand over the call to Mr. Kanodia, our Director of Finance, who will brief us on our financial performance.
Hi, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us on this call. Continuing with the briefing which Shishir just gave, I would like to share with you some of the key financial highlights of our consolidated operating performances. Retail consumption was at 13,874 million for Q4 FY20, which was down 15% year-on-year, and was at 69,309 million for the full year FY20, which is up by 1%. Aggregate retail rental income was down 11% year-on-year at rupees 2,227 million for the quarter 4 FY20, while it was up 3% year-on-year at 10,200 million for the full year FY20. Retail EBITDA was down 12% year-on-year at 2,123 million for Q4 FY20, while the same it was up at 3% year-on-year at rupees 9,774 million for FY20. Commercial income was at 1,138 million for the quarter, which was up 29% year-on-year, and for the full year it was at 290 million, up 19% year-on-year FY20. Income from hospitality and others were at 867 million, down 14% in Q4 FY20, and was at 3,486 million, down 3% for full year FY20. The consolidated revenues from operations were at 3,992 million for the quarter F4 FY20, which was down 45% year-on-year, while for the full year FY20 it was at 19,411 million, which is down marginally at 2% year-on-year. Despite a challenging business environment, we continue to maintain a robust balance sheet. Our consolidated debt stood at 45,732 million as on the end of 31st March 2020. Our cost of borrowing is down to 8.93% as compared to 9.29% for the last quarter, and we are hopeful that the borrowing cost should further go down in the coming quarters as the banks start passing on the rate cuts benefit to the customers. We have availed moratorium offered by our banking partners as per the RBI guidelines for a period of 6 months across all our SPVs. We have also carried out various cost rationalization efforts across our business verticals to ensure we can bounce back strongly once the business environment normalizes. To summarize, our company is comfortably placed with sufficient liquidity to navigate through this crisis period. We are confident that in the long run, consumption will be back to normal and the people will continue to look at malls as a safe and regulated way to shop, dine, entertain and socialize. Thank you very much once again, and we would be happy to take any specific questions now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin the question answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handset while asking a question. A reminder to the participants, please limit your question to 2 per participant. You may come back in the question queue if you have a follow-up. We take the first question from the line of Puneet Gulati from HSBC. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Good afternoon and thank you for the opportunity. I have 2 questions. Number 1, on the commercial side, you mentioned that there is an 80% collection rate. Is it normal or is it less than normal in the current perspective?
Yes, Puneet. Good morning. Well, we just to give you a perspective, for this last quarter, we have probably invoiced close to about 37 crore in the commercial office business. And collections for the month of June are still ongoing. Okay. So this number will soon creep up beyond this 80. We expect to be closer to 87, 88 or 90% as well. Okay. And the balance this is pretty normal, I would say. The impact is nominal, if at all. So I would say this 80% collection by this point in time is pretty normal.
Okay. And what is the update on the leasing pipeline for the new Fountainhead which is coming up?
So Fountainhead Towers 2 and 3 are nearing completion. We are awaiting OC for Tower 2, and Tower 3 still has some work ongoing.
Yeah.
I think on a leasing side, we've seen some, we were waiting to commence leasing in this last quarter. And while we've reached out to clients, there is some level of interest, but there is a little bit of cautiousness. So I would think that we will open up for leasing only in the month of August or September, when we see some demand picking up. Okay. So that I think decision making from occupant side at present is a little bit on hold. But these offices are not the large IT offices. These are smaller sized offices. We are seeing a lot of consolidation in the space, especially in Pune, where people are looking at reducing the size of their offices, but looking for smaller spaces. So I think this asset is poised to benefit from that.
Okay. Secondly, on your capex plan, if you can give more color on what is the spend that you intend, both on the malls and office side and also on the residential side.
Okay. So for this current year and the rest of FY21, when we look at our retail portfolio, which is mainly Phoenix Market City, Bangalore, Hebbal in Bangalore, Wakad, Pune, and Indore, we expect to spend between now and the end of the year close to about 75 to 80 crore in that range on these three projects. And
each?
No, cumulatively, simply because right now, while we have recommenced construction activities, construction pace is not picked up.
Okay.
So we are working with a limited labor force at site. So we don't expect the billing to really cross that. Roughly around 6 to 7, about 70 to 75 crore by the end of this year is what we expect to spend. And we have we still have the equity available, which was brought in by our JV partner to fund this construction activity. Offices in these projects would have logically we would have incurred expenditure on the office construction only after completion of the mall, because the offices sit on top of the mall structures. With regards to Phoenix Palacio, Lucknow, we have by and large completed all works over there. So there may be some outflow towards vendor bills as they present their final bills, etc. There again, I don't think we would spend more than 7 to 8 crore, 6 to 8 crore between now and end of the year.
Okay.
Then we come to Palladium, Ahmedabad, where we have a balanced spend between now and the completion of the project, which will be about 2.5 years or thereabouts. So that's roughly around 340 odd crore between now and the end of 2.5, 3 years. But within this year, again, we don't expect to spend more than about, I would say, 10 to 12 crore between now and the end of the year. Sorry, in between now and the end of the year FY21, this number would be closer to 50 crore. And we recently drawn down the debt on this asset in the month of May to fund this construction.
Right. So in all, we are looking at only 140 odd crore of capex.
We also have capex on our Fountainhead Tower 3, where we would expect to spend about 15 crore between 50 crore between now and end of the year. Between completion of Tower 2 and the bills there and Tower 3, about 50 crore there. So that will take that number up. And then of course we have the Resi project where we are continuing to spend, continuing completion activities for Kessaku, where we expect to spend about 80 to 100 crore.
Okay, that's great.
We have deferred the launch of Towers 8 and 9 in Bangalore, Bangalore West. Right now we are incurring expenses on Tower 7 and completion of some reconfiguration activities in Kessaku building, where the cost would be nominal. Hello?
Mr. Gulati, does that answer your question? Thank you. Next question is from the line of Kunal Lakhan from CLSA. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Good afternoon, Shishir. Just on the board approval to raise funds of 1,200 crore odd. Broadly, can you give us some color on what would this be utilized for, and how much would be the equity and debt mix, and what will be the form of equity? I mean, in terms of it will be at the entity level, or are you looking at a platform deal? If you can give some color.
Sure, good afternoon. Before I answer this question, I want to just talk a little bit about our cash flows.
Sure.
See, at present, we have close to about 700 odd crore in terms of, at the end of, by mid of this month, we had about 770 crore in terms of liquidity available. If we look at all the investments, cash equivalents, OD limits and the DSRA accounts. Now, going forward, as I mentioned, in terms of capex, we are fully covered in terms of our funding availability. When it comes to operating expenses of the malls, that is also fully covered, because that is the operating expenses are passing through as CAM, and we've reduced the quantum significantly, and in our understanding with the retailers, we will be recovering all the operating expenses there as well. With regards to the Ahmedabad Phoenix Palladium project in Ahmedabad, we've achieved financial closure, and that will fund the construction activity. So from a cash position, we are fine. We've also availed of the 3-month extension on the bank moratorium. So our debt obligations, we will be able to cover between now and the end of the year and even beyond. So we are comfortable from that cash position. Having said that, we believe that this is a time to have some cash available, because we are seeing unprecedented times, and there's no visibility to the end of the crisis. So it will help to have some kind of a war chest to meet uncertain times, to pay down debt, to probably even, if there's some spectacular distress opportunity that comes our way, because we believe in the long-term potential of our business, to be able to participate in such an acquisition opportunity. So while we have taken currently an enabling resolution, it's only it's to an extent of 1,200 crore. The decision on whether we want to raise capital at the listed company level or not will finally be taken. It has not yet been taken, and we are going to be deliberating on that. As of now, we are not contemplating any debt increase, except to the extent where we may draw down on Palladium Ahmedabad, and maybe where we have Fountainhead Towers 2 and 3, which are debt free. We may raise some capital, we may raise some debt there. So we are not really looking at a significant debt increase. Sorry, does that answer your question?
Yeah, just had a follow-up on that. So you mentioned that a part of these this fundraise could be utilized towards paring down debt. So would that be fair to assume then that a large part of this 1,200 crore would be equity raise?
Yes, we are saying that if we go ahead with a capital raise, the quantum has not yet been decided. We have the board has given their approval to raise a maximum of up to 1,200 crore, but we may be well within that number. So it would be an equity raise if we go down that path.
Sure, that's helpful. And my second question was on how are your negotiations panning out with tenants on rentals, especially for the post-lockdown period? I mean, are you closing on those negotiations? Have you reached an understanding with the retailers on this? What kind of structure you're working on? If you can help us with that.
So I would like to say that by and large, with most retailers, we have arrived at an understanding. We did commence operations of our malls in Bangalore, Lucknow, and Bareilly on the 8th of June. And of the permissible area that we have, which when I say permissible area, the leasable area that is allowed to be operational as per the government guidelines, we have seen close to about 80% becoming, even higher than 80% becoming operational. Now, we have not taken a very general, I would say, solution across the board for all retailers. But if I were to put that into two buckets, the first bucket being that what have we arrived at for the period of lockdown, we believe that we should be somewhere in the region of at an average of about 50% of the minimum guarantee rent to be paid during this period. But it varies from brand to brand, marginally here or there. And post the lockdown, we have agreed to a waiver only for a limited period. It may vary from between 3 months to the rest of financial year 21. And that also on a case-to-case basis, we have arrived at a solution. The solution broadly entails relief to a certain percentage, which is subject to negotiation with retailers, on the minimum guarantee rent. But on the other side, we have the retailers have also understood that in the event consumption does go up, they are willing to share a higher percentage of their revenue when compared to the contract for this limited period. And also, generally, we also address that should the retailers arrive at a 70 to 75% of consumption for the last year, then the original rental terms we revert to the original rental terms. So again, just to reiterate that any relief that we are providing is only for this limited period of 3 months or for the rest of FY21, which is negotiated on a case-to-case basis. And lastly, in some cases where we have agreed to this reduction in minimum guarantee rent and the retailers did not have a cash flow issue, we have also received some advance rental for the next 6 months based on the minimum guarantee.
Sure, that's very helpful. Just again a follow up on that. So you said 80% plus of the permissible area is operational. So the balance 20% is not operational because of disagreement on the rentals, or is it because of?
So let me clarify. For example, in Phoenix Market City, Bangalore, where we have more than a little over 1 million square feet of GLA, about 82% is operational of the permissible area. F&Bs were allowed to commence operation only a little later. So they are now gearing up to become operational, including the food court, etc. So we expect this number to move up significantly by the end of this week, by this weekend when a lot of F&B will also become operational. So it's not about not achieving a closure on the understanding. And of course, in a few cases, we still have ongoing discussions, but that's not going to really materially impact the number. In the case of Lucknow and Bareilly, we are close to anywhere between 85 to 90% of the permissible area of becoming operational. And there again, we're seeing the numbers increase every week.
Sure. Thank you so much and all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. We take the next question from the line of Saurabh Sapriya from UBS. Please go ahead.
Thanks for the opportunity. Two questions from my side. Shishir, can you highlight if there is a change in strategy towards residential business or the inventory that we have? And what has been the target set for this vertical in terms of cash flow for the year?
So there is no change in strategy in residential business as such. We are not, if the question is, are we looking at undertaking more residential projects at the present time? No.
No, my question was more about, are we looking to monetize this rapidly or increase the pace of monetization?
So right now the significant assets that we have about 1,400 crore of inventory, which in Bangalore, in Kessaku at Bangalore, right, and where we have received the OC. Now, also the debt on this is there is no debt on this asset. There's about 100 crore of debt on Palladium Construction, which owns this asset. Now, here we had larger apartments in Kessaku, and the ticket size was very, very high. So about 9 months ago, we embarked on the journey on looking at how we could reconfigure the apartments to have smaller 3 and 4 bedroom apartments in the ticket size of 4.5 crore as opposed to a higher number of 10 crore, 12 crore, etc. Now we have recreated or rather reconfigured these apartments, and we have recently gone into market, and there seems to be a very high interest for apartments in this ticket size, and the number of site visits that we are seeing have increased. So we've been seeing about 100 people come for site visits and inspections, 100 potential buyers coming each week, and we are quite confident that this product has a significant demand.
Right.
And so we I would say that our target would be to sell about 30 apartments in the next 6 months in this ticket size of 4 to 5 crore.
Okay.
And sorry, so this is about Kessaku. We also continue to continue on with the construction of Tower 7 of One Bangalore West.
Right.
And there we, from the sales that we have already completed to customers, the proceeds will fund the construction activity, the construction cost of that Tower 7. Towers 8 and 9, for present, we are going slow on construction. We've already come up above ground there, but we are going slow on construction. We will progress on that once we've launched that, which will be at a later date.
Right. Okay. So just a follow up on this, what are cash flows for this year? Given that we are trying we have remodified our product, would the cash flows from this business be higher than last 3-4 years average?
We hope so. We certainly hope so. From a cash flow perspective, I would say that not for 2021. I'm going to let Mr. Kanodia answer this question, if you don't mind.
Okay.
So, just to give you a perspective, last financial year.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, please stay online. We are just trying to reconnect the management back to the conference, requesting you all to please stay online. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for patiently holding the line. We have the management reconnected.
Yeah.
So we proceed to the next question. It's from the line of Mohit Agarwal from IIFL. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Good afternoon and thanks for the opportunity. So my first question is on the CAM charges. So I understand that the CAM would have been billed entirely to the retailers during the lockdown also. Have we received the CAM already for the malls that we have already started? That's the first question. And secondly, also on the rentals bit, for the malls which you started on June 8th, Have we received any rentals till now?
Okay, firstly, our sincere apologies. We got dropped off the call, and I think coming down to your question, yeah. So on CAM, we have made every effort of reducing the expenses for the period of lockdown, and also going forward for some period in time, we expect that our marketing expenses are going to be lower, since we are focusing only on communication, on our health and safety standards that we are maintaining in the mall today, and mostly on social media. So we expect the marketing expenses also to be lower going forward. For the period of lockdown, we are recovering the reduced CAM as per our understanding with the retailers. And with regards to rentals, we expect that for the month of April, May and June, whatever is the reduced rental as we may have agreed on a case-to-case basis, that will be recovered for the month, along with the month of July, since we had offered a 3-month moratorium for that period in any case. So from the month of July, we will start seeing, in addition to the rental of July, we expect to receive the rental of March. In August, we'll expect to receive the rental of May as well. And in September for the month of June, along with the rental of that particular month.
So, sir, the CAM will also, so if I understand correctly, the CAM will also be received along with the rentals only.
CAM has been ongoing, recovery has been happening during the period of shutdown as well.
Okay. Sir, another question is on the industry level. There were media reports suggesting that there could be a one-time restructuring of, the retail sector loans. However, it is expected that realty may not be covered. Just wanted to understand what's your what is an update on that? Have you been in discussions with any part of the government which is taking a decision on this? And will you, if because it's a COVID impacted sector, if there is a one-time restructuring, will you also be considered for that? Any thoughts on that?
So I think the RBI and the Ministry of Finance have been very forthright, and in the last 2 extensions that they have allowed 3 months each for the industry to benefit from the extended period of payment of interest and principal, clearly helped us and helped everyone in this period of crisis. As far as restructuring is concerned, I think RBI is yet to take a decision, while the Finance Ministry is of the view that there would be a window which may be made available. So from that point of view, we are ongoing discussions with banks are not really around restructuring because our cash flow position remains healthy. But once we get a complete sense of how long the lockdown exists and what is the because this is a dynamic situation where every day things are changing. So as of now, enough liquidity and cash available for us to sustain our operations. But if the opportunity of restructuring was to come and it is given to the real estate sector also, we will evaluate it on the merits of it and see if there is a need, case-to-case basis. From that point of view, I think we are a little premature in taking any decision at this stage.
Sure, sir. And sir, last bookkeeping question. Could you share the CapEx number for FY20, full year FY20 number?
FY20,
yeah.
Around 300 crore. We'll just come back to you offline. Just give me a minute. Let me just put 1 second. Let us just come back to you offline. Just give us some time, because I think that number we don't have it handy, but we'll come back to you quickly.
Sure, sir. No issues. Thanks a lot. That was helpful. That's it from me.
Thank you. We take the next question from the line of Abhishek Bhandari from Macquarie. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi, good afternoon, Shishir, and Varun. I have 2 questions actually. The first one is, if you look at the last 4 years of our mall's performance, one of the reasons was pivoting it towards more social experience, where F&B experience, multiplexes help us a lot. But, as things stand without vaccine, probably these parts of economy will have more trouble in terms of paying rents and the business is uncertain. So, do you think from a medium-term perspective, you would want to reduce the exposure what you have to these segments? And on related lines, has there been any movement on the pre-leasing for the new 5 malls which have come, where these kind of sectors would have probably taken up maybe between 10 to 15% of.
Good afternoon, Abhishek. Yeah, thank you for your question. So you're right. In the short to medium term, we do expect to see several of our F&B partners go through a little bit of stress. However, from a consumer point of view, we don't expect the demand to be significantly reduced, but there will be operating restrictions which will impact their revenues. So when I say operating restrictions, for example, we expect that the various state governments are going to implement a minimum or a maximum density approach. So they may say that restaurants need to operate at 50% occupancy, etc., which is likely to impact the revenue. Also, liquor sales have not yet commenced, in F&B outlets in Bangalore, for example. So that may take some time because that's going to impact revenue as well. Additionally, we are seeing that a lot of the manpower of working out of these F&B spaces are generally from other towns, and there may be a shortage of manpower for some period in time. So we understand that there is going to be some stress on F&B operations for some period of time. Having said that, from a product perspective, we don't expect to reduce the F&B offering because this is going to be, in our opinion, a short to medium term impact. So while we continue to, we also expect that consumer demand may not really be very, very low, simply because people are going to move or prefer coming to a safe and controlled environment such as a mall, even for their F&B offerings, as opposed to going to high street locations, simply because they will have that confidence in and trust in health and safety standards, which will be higher than other locations. So we are not looking at reducing the F&B offering, but we understand that the number of restaurants that may be operating may be fewer, or the number of people that they can accommodate may be fewer, and that will impact the revenues.
What about the contract with the multiplexes in the 5 new coming malls? Have they come up with you with some kind of renewed business plan, asking you to push out the leasing, etc., or things stand as they were as maybe 5 months, 3 months ago?
Yeah, for the moment, multiplex operators also don't have really got any visibility on how their business operations will pan out and what is, the government regulations and guidelines that will govern their operations. So for the present, we've not had discussions because they don't know what their business plan looks like right now.
Sure. My second question is more around business model and LRD. So if you look at last 5 years, one of the hallmark has been a rising minimum guarantee, which probably is now around 90-91% of revenues. That makes the income predictable, and hence LRDs are available for a longer duration and a much higher number. Do you think with probably the revenue sharing increasing, making the revenue a little more volatile, the LRDs might be asked to top up, and going forward you would want to increase your equity not only for operating assets but also for the under construction assets?
Hi, Pradyuman here. So from a technical point of view, just the mathematics, what you spoke about is a fact which can happen, but I think reality is quite different. Banks are looking at the FY21 as a period of really an uncertain period and an abnormal period. So clearly any decisions based on that would be not right. Having said that, I think most of our malls were anyway, when you look at the eligibility criteria, we had already repaid loans significantly downwards. Like example, Bangalore Mall, the loan was less than 400 crores, when even in the current avatar, the EBITDA could be in excess of 100 odd crores even for this financial year. So from that point of view, we have been discussing all our current situations with our bankers, and there is no such sort of a request that has come in from any banker. Second, as the RBI and Finance Ministry also is talking about one-time window of restructuring. So if there is that window that comes in and some banks feel that there would be some mismatch between the revenue for the current year, definitely, but not from the year FY22 onwards. So then some bit of a restructuring around that may be necessitated, which we may evaluate on its merit. But from a group level perspective, I don't think so there is a need for us to, and of course the second point which is important is the loan to cover. So the value of these each assets and the security cover that it provides to the bankers is tremendous. So any case which you take, the security cover would always be greater than 2x, while the stipulation would be 1.5 or 1.6. But having offered the entire asset to the bank, the security covers are greater than 2 times in most of the cases. Now coming to the fact that currently we have used the moratorium as extended by RBI, and with the current cash flow that we have and the DSRAs that are available with the bank, we don't foresee any such issue coming up from a banking side where extra equity may be required, and I don't even foresee that going forward, because our ongoing construction side, if you were to look at the construction finances, have not been, there is no need for construction finance loan for 3 of our under development assets under the Canadian Pension and Bank PML joint venture, because equity is still available and there is no cost overrun that is happening there. Ahmedabad project is going as per schedule. The debt has been tied up and the first disbursement has happened. Again, we don't foresee any change in our timelines and cost parameters for the bank to be worried about looking at any form of additional equity that may be required. So from that point of view, there is no need for us to worry about additional capital infusion in any of our projects, given the fact that there may be some revenue dip for the FY 2021 period, which is normal in the current scenario. And
sure, thanks.
Give you also perspective of the other 2 verticals that we have, the commercial side. We spoke about how the collections from the commercials continue to be robust and really have not got impacted by the current lockdown, and the fact that 2 more additional towers of Tower 2 will become almost ready for leasing towards August, September of this year should add to our kitty in terms of our commercial collection. So from Art Guild House at Kurla, from the Centrium units at Kurla, and Tower 1 and 2 at the Alliance at Pune, we should have a very robust cash flow which has very limited debt on that. So that would come in good stead for us. And on the residential side, we had a outstanding of around 164 crores at the beginning of FY 2021, and this 164 largely will get collected in the current year, and that is going to be a good sign from a cash flow point of view, while our expenses on the capex would be limited since we are only doing Tower 7 right now. So from that extent, there is enough and more liquidity surplus that may be available. And also important to highlight that our completed OC received inventory between Kesaku and OBW at our Bangalore residential development is in excess of 1400 crores. So any additional sales that we do there would completely come down as a positive cash flow because there is no capex pending on those accounts. So the outstanding debtors as on day 1, the limited capex and the high value of inventory which has no capex required really gives us a great comfort that there will be surplus getting generated from our resi portfolio as well.
Thanks for the detailed explanation. And one last question. Shishir, the inline stores in particular probably would need more handholding from us, rightly so, because their balance sheets might be weaker compared to the larger brands. So do you want to really reduce the dependence on inline stores going forward because such kind of volatility is unpredictable and we don't know if it will recur in future or not? It probably makes more sense to partner with only bigger brands. So any thoughts there would be helpful.
So Abhishek, in our malls, we've, you may be aware that basically groups which have anchor as well as inline, they comprise about 40% of our retail space. We have very few franchisee operated stores. Even the other inline stores, bulk of them are company owned. So we are not, and we have very very few brands which are local single stores which may have severe cash stress at this point in time. So we don't expect to reduce our dependency on inline stores because most of them are owned by groups or company operated, where we don't expect to see them to have a significant cash issue.
Sure. Thanks a lot, Shishir. Thanks a lot to the whole management team and all the best.
Thank you, Abhishek.
Thank you. Next question is from the line of Abhinav Bhandari from Nippon India. Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for taking my question and hope everyone in the team is keeping safe. I actually had a few clarifications to understand rather than questions. So first is, sir, on the March lockdown period, as you mentioned that selectively you have given a 50% of waiver on the minimum guaranteed rental. So just to understand, on the 6 to 8 days of March, has that already been done in FY20 or some impact of that would come this fiscal because these negotiations are still ongoing?
So, firstly, for the month of March, what we have done is, we were in negotiations with retailers, and almost every retailer had reached out to us for some kind of a relief for the month of March for the period of shutdown as well. So we've been a little conservative in our approach in terms of accounting, and knowing fully well that that retailers will expect some relief during this period, we have already considered that, and we've taken that impact in our Q4 rental numbers. So that I would say that we've been more than conservative. For the month of March, we have assumed that for the half of the month, one would not receive the minimum guarantee rent. However, we continue to remain in conversation with these retailers, and it cannot be assumed that for the entire period of lockdown that there will be no rent. As I mentioned, we expect to be somewhere at least recover at least 50% in that range for the period of shutdown based on the minimum guarantee rent.
Sure, that's fair and understandable. The related clarification that I needed is, in some places, specifically Maharashtra, the lockdown is now been continuing, announced to be there till 31st of July. So fair to assume that wherever lockdown situation persists, this kind of equation would be there in Q2 as well?
Yes, for the period of shutdown in Q2. I would
Got
say
it.
that would be
Got it. There is this one line in our press release that we are looking to extend the renewals as well by 6 to 12 months. So in some of the cases, so just to understand how much area was overall up for renewal in this year or next 6 to 12 months, and how much of upside it could have fetched us, just to understand how much deferment would happen.
So, firstly, let me address the extension bit. Wherever we had any renewals coming up in the mall for over the next 6 to 12 month period, we have taken the view and discussed with retailers and extended the existing contract and existing terms by a period of 6 months to 9 months to 12 months, depending again for the renewal. And whatever relief we have separately negotiated is for a limited period during that renewal. Okay.
Okay.
Now coming up in FY20, let's talk about FY21 and FY22. One would, the renewal schedule varies from mall to mall, but let's talk about a large mall at...
Broader number would be fine.
Broader number would be roughly in the range of about 20% at an average of the area coming up for renewal in FY21, which, as I mentioned, some of those contracts we have extended. And in FY22, it would also be in the range of about 30% at an average 30-32% at an average of the entire GLA in retail.
Got it. Got it. And ideally, we would have been expecting how much of a leg up, just to understand if this 20% would have gone ahead as usual.
Yeah. So the leg up is on the minimum guarantee. So normally what happens is, because of these malls already deriving a higher number on account of revenue share, the leg up on minimum guarantee would not impact the overall rentals significantly. It would be more of a catch up with the revenue share component. So normally that leg up would probably impact, the minimum guarantee would probably impact, say, 4 to 5% of the overall rental, or 3 to 5%, somewhere in that range.
Got it. Perfect, sir. Just one last thing on this RBI guideline on moratorium, as you mentioned that you have availed of it. Just to understand, is this only on the principal repayment or on the interest as well that we have availed?
No, so we have availed for both because it comes as a package, and of course we thought that it will be better to conserve our cash flows in the current environment. So for both interest and principal that was due for this period, we have availed of this moratorium as per the RBI guidelines.
And if I understand it correctly, this amounts get accumulated at the end of your loan tenure. Is that understanding correct?
So the principal part gets extended and the tenure of the loan gets extended to that period. But as far as the interest is concerned, that needs to be repaid to the bankers as per the current directive within the balance 6 months of the current financial year.
Got it. Perfect, sir. Thanks for all these clarifications and best wishes.
Thank you. We take the next question from the line of Manish from JM Financial. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. I was going through the average daily consumption data which you have provided for the malls which have opened. So there seems to be variation across Lucknow, Bareilly and Bangalore. So going forward, which trend is more likely to play out? Because Bareilly is at 38, Lucknow I can see is much higher. So what sort of trends do you expect?
So let's talk about Bareilly for the moment.
Mm-hmm.
In Bareilly, there are several containment zones in the vicinity of our mall.
Mm-hmm.
That has impacted, footfalls and consumption.
Okay.
And also we have quite a few franchise operated stores there, where they have commenced recently, they're slowly starting commencement of operations. Therefore, if you look at Bareilly weekend, last weekend is when several stores had also opened up, right, in increment. And of course, the third week shows a 34% daily consumption versus 2019. Also, I would like to highlight that, it's one doesn't realize this, but in North India, with this solar eclipse, etc., on that particular Sunday, we did notice a huge drop in consumption on that one particular day, and that was because people were not stepping out on that solar eclipse day. So we saw that in Lucknow as well. So if you really look at the average daily consumption of week 2, which is at 82%, that drop was because of Sunday consumption getting impacted. But the big positive is, if we look at our the profile of vehicles coming in, the categories, if we look at the sale in terms of categories, you can see that the higher ticket items seem to be generally being showing a higher sale. And more so if you go to, for example, if you look at Phoenix United Lucknow, electronics showed a 240% growth in terms of consumption as compared to the same period last year in June. And watches and fashion accessories were high. Of course, hypermarkets are operating across generally at very high consumption levels. When we come to Bangalore, also one can see that consumption in terms of higher ticket items is higher for the moment. We are seeing certain electronic stores have even demonstrated 130% of consumption compared to last year, same period. And again, here the profile of the vehicles coming in, profile of the customer coming in is we're seeing that it's a very high profile. Also, if you look at, a good indicator is what is the average spend per footfall, which in week 3 has shown a 50% growth or slightly higher than 50% growth as compared to week 1 and week 2. And the average daily consumption on weekends is 51% of what we saw in June 2019. So we are seeing that slowly and steadily consumption is building, but it's going to take a time, and we are cognizant of the fact that, as there is a high element of fear today, and that fear will take time to dissipate as we build trust, and that will impact positive consumption.
So going forward, you expect these trends to improve only. You wouldn't attribute this to some pent-up demand showing higher consumption numbers?
Yes. So one more important point for us to understand is in June 2019, for the most of the month, we had the end of season sales going on, where in Phoenix Market City, Bangalore, it's just picking up. We've just started with that. So typically the consumption is much higher during the end of season sale. Although I would not say that there's any revenge shopping, but certainly there is a pent-up demand, because you are seeing that home and electronics and these, high ticket items of televisions, etc. are doing very well. So there has been a pent-up demand for the last 3 months in this segment.
And would it be fair to extrapolate the performance of maybe Bangalore as an urban city to maybe Mumbai, Pune and Chennai malls going forward whenever they open?
I think it would be fair to assume that, yes.
Okay. And just one clarification on the minimum guarantee part. So for the closure period, whenever the malls are closed, 50% of the minimum guarantee needs to be paid. Is that the correct assumption?
Broadly, yes. That is what we expect in terms of our rental recovery for the period of lockdown. But as I had mentioned earlier in the call, we don't have a blanket rule across for all retailers. We're customizing our understanding for each one of them after understanding whether they have a cash flow issue or they have a P&L issue. So, for example, there are very few retailers with whom we've understood that they had a P&L issue and not a cash flow issue. So we've been able to give them a greater relief during this period, but they have also upfronted the next 6 months rent in advance. So that reduces the impact to us from a cash flow point of view. In some cases where cash flow is an issue, we have a different solution. But broadly, I would say that we expect to recover about 50% for the period of lockdown.
And if in by chance post the lockdown period also you are unable to recover consumption, so at least 50% of the rental should be locked in basically for the full year.
Yes, because the negotiations are not in excess of 50% relief in any event.
Okay. And just one last question. Any color on when Maharashtra malls would perhaps open or Chennai malls would open?
Well, I think the state government does understand that this is impacting the livelihood of many people, and they're taking and there is a genuine intent to open up the cities to whatever extent they can. But it's a state government decision, and we are hopeful that they will take a positive decision soon enough.
Sure. Okay. Thank you. That's all from my side.
Thank you.
Thank you. Before we take the next question, a reminder to the participants, please limit your question to one per participant. You may come back in the question queue if you have a follow-up, as we have many people waiting for the turn. Next question is from the line of Pulkit Patni from Goldman Sachs. Please go ahead.
Yeah, Shishir, thanks a lot for taking my question. Just to understand the accounting bit of this a little more in detail. So as we look at Q1, which you will be reporting in some time, would the revenue be recognized in full and rest would be shown as receivable? Or we are going to be showing only revenue which is going to be a lower amount, which is basically 50% of the minimum guarantee. how would the accounting work? And similarly, if you could talk about how would the accounting work in terms of interest payments? Would we accrue the entire interest and the rest would be in payable? If you could talk about both these aspects, please.
Yeah. So I'll answer the second question first. As far as the interest is concerned, yes, it will show as an accrued interest and will reflect as an expense for the quarter for which it will be reported. So Q1 when I report, in spite of me taking the moratorium, the number would appear there because it's a liability which will have to be paid in the same financial year and it's not converting into a term loan or any other form. So the interest figure will continue to be reflected as an expense in my Q1 results. Coming to the other question, yes, we will not be reporting or accounting for the entire amount as a top line and having the balance as receivable. Whatever we have so-called negotiated and had an arrangement with, to that extent we will reduce our top line, and to that extent our revenues from retail would be down compared to what we would have done in an otherwise situation.
Understood. That's it from my side. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question is from the line of Anubhav Sinha from Jefferies. Please go ahead.
Hi, Shishir. Just one cue on, you did say that wherever stores are hitting about 70-75% of last year's sale, you will be getting roughly the same rent as last year. So, based on the current trend, what percentage of the mall should be in that direction?
Wow, that's a very tough question. But first, I want to clarify that it's not in all cases that we have this provision of full rental recovery when they hit 70-75%. I would say broadly about half or 60% of the stores we would have this provision. If we just look at the existing trend, it's tough to say, but one hopes that in the next 3 to 4 months, I would say that by the time we get into Diwali, consumption is going to start picking up, and we would say by sometime in the fourth quarter, definitely by the fourth quarter of this year, we should start hitting that 70-75%. But it's it's a shot in the dark for anybody to say this, because there's so many factors that determine this: the number of tests, number of cases testing positive, government action. So generally, I would say that retailers and us have understood that we start seeing some form of normal consumption by Q4. That's been the general discussions and assumption while we have arrived at our commercial arrangement, and therefore we have restricted any relief only for this balance period of FY21.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We take the next question from the line of Ashish Maheshwari from Antique Stock Broking. Please go ahead. Mr. Maheshwari, may please go ahead with your question.
Yes, hello. Yeah, hi. Good afternoon, Shishir. Good afternoon, everyone. Shishir Biplab here. I'm using Ashish's number. My line got disconnected, unfortunately. Anyway, so my question is basically, you were evaluating some projects, new projects in Kolkata, Chandigarh, Hyderabad, etc. What are the status of those projects? Have you abandoned those projects, or have you stopped working on those projects, or still under evaluation?
I think all these discussions are presently on hold. We are not aggressively pursuing growth, and in these uncertain times, we've kept our new acquisitions on hold. But we remain, I think one can safely assume that the next 12 to 18 months will present some very interesting and good, well-priced opportunities. So we'll keep our eye out for that. But we're not aggressively looking at any land acquisition for greenfield development, etc. for the moment.
Okay. And regarding Phoenix Palacio, you have 85%, around 85-90% lease, then you have some rental agreement, and this is going to be opened in July. The rental structure, has it changed or it remained the same, or it will be decided after 2-3 months of operation?
Sorry, may I request you to repeat your question again?
You have some rental arrangement structure in Phoenix Palacio, pre-COVID, when it was supposed to be launched in 14th March.
Right.
Has it changed that rental structure agreement with the tenants, or it remained the same as it was earlier?
No. The rental arrangements for the term of the contract remain unchanged. There may be some relief for the initial period that we will certainly look at, and we've been in discussions with retailers. There again, there may be a reduced, for example, there could be a reduced minimum guarantee rent for the first 3 months after we commence operations before we move to the original agreement terms.
Okay. Thank you. I'll come back in detail.
Thank you.
Thank you. We take the next question from the line of Alpesh Thakkar from Motilal Oswal. Please go ahead.
Thank you for taking up my question, sir. So for one question is on the HFC expansion plan that we have. So can you just throw some light on when are we planning to go ahead with that?
Well, as we had always stated in the past, we are waiting to get the approvals from the authorities to take that project forward. But for the moment, I think the administration needs some time before they grant any approvals, and there will be no rush to go out and commence construction, because as we understand right now, we want to be a little tight on our cash flows. We want to maintain conserve the cash flows. So we won't rush into construction over there. We will time it right with the market and the demand.
Okay, and sir, one last question, if I may, please. So that is on the retail, the rental collection for the month of April to June. So I understand that we collected rentals at the start of the month. So definitely we were in the negotiation stage with them. So, but if I look at standing today, how much of the rentals have we collected for our retail assets? Ballpark figure would work.
So for the months April, May and June, as I had mentioned earlier, we had provided relief to retailers and allowed them a moratorium of 3 months. So what that essentially meant was that the rent that was payable for the month of April, whatever it would be finally negotiated down, would actually get paid out in July. What was payable in May would get paid out in August. What was payable in June would get paid out in September. So now that we have also concluded on the on the relief for this limited period of the next 3-4 months, I think we will start seeing collections only in July, August and September for the past period.
Okay, that's it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. We take the next question from the line of Atul Mehra from Motilal Oswal AMC. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi, good afternoon, and thanks for the opportunity. So I don't have a question. I have a suggestion to make on behalf of our clients who are shareholders. So one is that in today's environment, what we are seeing is that anybody which has any business which has a large amount of debt, and given the uncertainty we are living in, it is generally on the negative side of things. So from a sustainability perspective and from a longevity perspective, the suggestion is that if we could, utilizing multiple avenues, be it residential in terms of project that we have, which can get us about 1,500 crores of cash flow. Similarly, if at all commercial assets is something that we can say monetize to an extent. We have a partner in CPPIB. If we can monetize to an extent to pay down the debt. And to add to that, if maybe as you guys have already put in place a resolution to raise 1,200 crores, if we can maybe do a rights issue at a certain level of price so that the existing shareholders' stake is not diluted. If we can do these multiple things, so that maybe we can get towards zero debt in the next 12 to 18 months time, that will be something, in our opinion, which can substantially give you, in terms of sustainability, number one. At the same time, it will give you the ammunition to take advantage of the distressed opportunities which will be available in the next 12 to 18 months' time. So, obviously, it is the decision of the board and the management team to think about this. But I would strongly recommend we take this as a suggestion, so that as you would also realize that businesses today which are cash rich, they are very differently positioned than businesses which are indebted. So if we can get on the other side of things where we are not just doing away with the debt, but we are having ample cash in the books, that will actually place us in a position that we can really capitalize on the next 10 years of opportunities. So, and just one final thing is that we are in our understanding, Phoenix Mills is the best mall operator in the country. So the ability for you to raise money today is unparalleled to anybody else in your business. So if you are able to take advantage of that and then act accordingly, your in terms of business for the next 10, 20 years for you will be to a very large extent will get sorted. So I think, sir, that is the only thing I had to say, and maybe if you can take that under consideration. Thank you.
Atul, thank you very much for your suggestion.
Thank you.
Thank you. We take the next question from the line of Atul Tiwari from Citigroup. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. Thanks a lot, sir. So my question is on again on the moratorium and waiver, a combination of which you have offered. So for the lockdown period, this 50% of the minimum guarantee, would it be fair to say that most of your clients have already agreed to this, and or the negotiations are still on?
I would say we've generally come up with a solution which averages out to, let's say, a 45 to 55% kind of a waiver for the period of lockdown. But and this would hold true for at least 75% of the GLA. Because when it comes to multiplexes, we've not the discussions are yet to be concluded. Several F&B operators, we're still trying to find the right solution which will help them. But for about 70 to 75% of the mall GLA, this would apply.
Okay, so on a weighted average basis, very roughly 75% of the clients have agreed to pay roughly 50% of minimum guarantee. That much, very roughly, we should be comfortable assuming, right?
I would think so, yes.
Okay. And so for the post-lockdown period, though you touched on, what is the exact arrangement? So once the mall opens, you offer a lower minimum guarantee for how many months? Like 3 months or 1 year, or what is the arrangement?
It may be 1 to maximum of 2 quarters. It varies from contract to contract. And while we may offer a relief of some 20%, 30% on the minimum guarantee rent, we are on the other side also negotiating with retailers for an increase in the revenue share percentage for this period.
Okay, so roughly speaking, the discount being offered to the current minimum guarantee is 20-30% for 1 or 2 quarters maximum.
Yeah, it could be higher in some few cases as well.
Okay, but roughly, I mean, broadly on an average.
Yeah, 30% would be a good estimate because
30%.
Yeah.
And again, would it be fair to say that 75% weighted average by rentals clients have agreed to this, or this is also still an open matter with most of the clients?
Yeah, 70 to 75% that would be generally the.
Okay, great. That was the question. Thanks.
Thank you. Take the next question from the line of Abhidev Chattopadhyay from ICICI Securities. Please go ahead.
Yes, thanks for the opportunity. My question is on our CAM charges and on our St. Regis Hotel expenditure. Could you tell us how much we have brought this down by? And in case of CAMs, how much have we collected from our tenants for the lockdown period? Thank you.
So CAM has been reduced for the period of lockdown. It's a pass-through expense, as you are aware. So we've really reduced that common area maintenance costs down significantly. And in terms of collections, we've been collecting. So generally, we would have collected about, I would say about 40-45% of the CAM invoices so far. And now that we've concluded on the commercial negotiation for the period of lockdown and for the limited period thereafter, collections are underway. We expect most of it to come along with the rent in July.
Okay. So just to understand, so the CAM should go back to the pre-COVID levels once the mall starts. Is that right understanding, or it may be higher also because of the sanitation and digitization which you have to implement?
Well, honestly, the cost of the sanitization, etc., is not much higher than what we were incurring in any case, simply because we were maintaining high levels of cleanliness and hygiene standards in the mall. Now, this sanitizer, etc., is a nominal increase in our cost. I don't think that that's going to result in an increased CAM, because on the flip side, we've also cut down on, we've reduced the number of public entrances into the mall. So your requirement of manpower has gone down. We've made several changes to our mall operations, which have resulted in a lower CAM cost. So the retailers are not likely to see any increase in their CAM cost.
Okay. So just on the hotel, what are the expenses now versus pre-COVID? What are the expenditure levels?
So really what we have, if we look at St. Regis, today our cash burn is about, say, 2.3 crore a month as of now, and that's also likely to reduce with other initiatives that we are undertaking. In Agra, it's about 30 lakhs a month.
Okay. Okay, sir. Yeah, that's helpful. Thank you.
Thank you. We take the next question from the line of Dhaval Somia from PhillipCapital. Please go ahead.
Thank you for the opportunity. I just wanted to understand that in Q4 consumption and EBITDA numbers, the HSP seems to be quite resilient compared to other assets. Any specific reason for that?
Sorry, may I request you to repeat that question again?
Yeah. So for Q4 numbers of EBITDA and consumption, the decline for the rest of the malls is relatively higher compared to that which is being witnessed in HSP.
Right.
So any specific reason for that?
So we had a very, very strong 2 months of January and February in terms of consumption, which was up about 15-16% year on year compared to the previous year in HSP. The other malls were probably in the range of about 8 to 9% or thereabouts compared to last year. And so I think the support of the month of Jan and Feb was for HSP was much higher. And in March, Mumbai malls shut down on the 14th or 15th of the month, and Bangalore was probably 2-3 days prior to that.
Thank you, Shishir. And Pradyuman, just one question, if I may ask. It's just a bookkeeping question on tax rate that seems to be higher for this particular quarter. So, what is it that we should expect for the next couple of quarters? Should it around 25%, or will it be notched up a little higher?
No, actually the tax rates have not gone up. In fact, because of the last budget announcement, some of the companies where we have chosen to go with the new tax rates, it is down as compared to the old tax rate. So we have the option of choosing between the old and the new, and we have done our analysis on that. But what you feel as a hit in the as a tax hit is probably the write-off of MAT or the deferred tax credits which were available. So to that extent, some of them are one-time in nature, especially the MAT write-offs. So going forward, you will not see those similar kind of expenses coming under the tax expense part. And hopefully, as we have cleared up our MAT credits, write-off, etc., the next year our tax expenses would be lower as compared to what you have seen in the current financial year.
Thank you, Pradyuman, and all the best. That will be also my.
Thank you. We take the next question from the line of Shankar Mehta from Robo Capital. Please go ahead.
Hello, good afternoon. Actually, my question was for the future projections about your revenue in year 2021 and 22. Like, what kind of division are you expecting?
What kind? Sorry, may I request you to repeat your question?
Yeah, what percentage of divisions are you expecting in your revenues for 21 and 22?
Deviation. Okay. In FY21. No, so we hope that at least the current outlook is that FY22 should see normalcy. So we should be similar to the levels of FY19, if not FY20.
Thank you. That answers my question.
Thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was the last question for today. I would now like to hand the conference back to the management for their closing comments. Over to you all.
Thank you everyone for joining us on this call. We request you all to stay home, stay safe, and hopefully we will see normalcy return soon. Looking forward to our next interaction. And we look forward to welcoming you all into our malls very, very soon. Have a good day.
Thank you. On behalf of the Phoenix Mills Limited, we conclude today's conference. Thank you for joining. You may now disconnect.